I'm Helen English, a client executive at ReSource Pro, and Gabe
Yes.
from Paul Hanson.
Yes.
Introduce yourself and Paul Hanson.
Well, I'm Gabe from Paul Hanson. It's really nice to meet everybody. I've always wanted to be on a talk show, so this is great. except for Maury, for obvious reasons. but this is great. From Paul Hanson Partners, based out of Napa here, and excited to be here.
So tell us, how long has Paul Hanson been with ReSource Pro, and what size of team do you have, and how many shifts, and tell us all about that.
Yeah, so thanks to Dan earlier, gave us a shout out, but we were one of the very first clients, and so we've been working with ReSource Pro now for 20 years as well. So we started our relationship in November of 2004. So it's been quite the journey. As far as team members and shifts, we have a regular shift in China, in Qingdao, also a regular shift in Bangalore, India, and then we also have a real-time at both locations as well. So it's four different shifts that I get to work with, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. A lot of late night or early morning calls.
Yeah, you like those, right?
Those
are really fun.
I love them.
Yeah, when we got to get all four shifts together, it's like a slumber party.
I'm slumbering.
No, it's great. It's fun.
So tell us a little bit about the initial vision from Paul Hanson Group on working with ReSource Pro. What were you trying to achieve?
Yeah, so Paul Hanson Partners was a family-owned business, right? And so it was just a small company, and they found success really early. It was the Paul family, and based here out of California, Northern California, and basically they built a program in the moving and storage, sector, and that grew really fast, and it was in California only, right? So the big need came when about 8 to 9 years into that business, it was this vision to take it nationwide, right? And so I can honestly say that they would not have been able to scale it, right, in the amount of time that they did had the partnership with ReSource Pro not started. So I think that's really what the vision was, is, wow, we have this program that's growing rapidly in California. We have something great, something profitable, something that we want to take nationwide. So how do we get there, right? And it was one of those decisions where I think they looked at things, and we could have done it on our own, maybe in 8 years or so, right? And I think it was able to get accomplished in a matter of 1 to 2 years, right? With ReSource Pro stepping in and being a partner. So I think that was the initial vision, right? Is to be able to kind of scale it into a larger program nationwide.
So can you give us a brief timeline of our partnership, and also how has ReSource Pro supported you over the years? We helped you grow, but how?
Yeah. So it's been a long journey. So 20 years is a long time. I joined the organization 14 years ago, right? And so I think I'll start by just kind of pointing out, it starts with some awesome relationships here in the US as well, right? We've had a lot of great partnerships and people that I've met in this organization through a long time. I think I saw Amber here yesterday evening. I don't know if you're in here, Amber, but when I first started, there she is back there. Hey, Amber. She was the first client advisor on the account when I first joined. This is quite a long time ago. And she used to love coming out to Napa. I wonder why. I don't know what happened, but everyone loves coming to Napa. So, and then also, I'm sure Tony's in here. Maybe he's in here. Tony, if you're here. Okay, he's going to be in trouble. He paid me to say this, and he's not even here. No, but I met Tony right at the beginning of COVID. It was like January 2020, and we had an awesome partnership for 3 years and accomplished. I'm really proud of everything that we accomplished together during that time. But thankfully, they've upgraded my account, and now I'm dealing with you, which is awesome, right?
And I bring you right on stage, right? Gabe.
So I get to work with you and Dee as well. I don't know if Dee's in here, but she's amazing as well. And we're having, there you are, hi Dee. Having a lot of fun, and so it starts with great relationships here. But yeah, we started with 2 FTEs in November of 2004, and kind of the normal kind of like, let's just see how it goes, right? And I think we started with like, let's get one person to help with invoicing, and maybe one more on like some claim support stuff. But I think the work that is done is high quality, and it really enhances the operation overall, right? So, I mean, it took just a couple of years to really start scaling it larger. I think 3 years in, we were at about 30 FTEs, and I would say about 5 years in, and so we started expanding. We started getting claim support, started with accounting support, and then we moved into certificates, right, and things like that, and then we just kind of kept going.
Yes.
Because the excitement was, wow, with delegating this work, we're able to really get out there, right, and do all the forward-facing and sell insurance, right, and bind policies, et cetera. So I think we just started to run with it. One of the most interesting things that we ended up doing is we started finding really awesome team members in our China office, right, building those relationships, and about, I think at the 6 years in, I think, Mark, we started to, actually Dan made a reference to it this morning, we started to do some interviews with some of the senior people there, and we actually started to onboard a smaller unit to be able to do underwriting. So we have a team of 6 underwriters that sit in China as well, and so our strategy with that is that they take all of our small accounts. So for our office, it's anything under $60,000 of premium is underwritten in China, and then they each have, of course, a senior colleague who's here in the U.S. And so that allows our underwriters to focus on broker relationships and, of course, all the larger premium accounts. But that was, I think, an interesting journey and thing that we've done, and it's worked amazingly well, actually. So now we're at about 90, I would say, about 90 team members in India and China, and they support us in everything. I mean, from pre-renewal to marketing team, driver team, endorsement team, pretty much all across the board.
I'm itching to ask you the question about, so how do you build teams that are offshore and with such a long relationship? How do you manage that, Gabe?
How do we manage that? Well, I think leadership has a lot to do with it, right? And what you communicate to the staff. For us, ReSource Pro, you know this, when I get on calls or when I go over and visit, I know that they're ReSource Pro employees, but I always say that they're my team, right? Yeah. I always say, no, you guys are Paul Hanson's team. Yeah. Because that's kind of what we message to our staff, is for our staff, these people are our colleagues. They're not, just outsourced work. So I think that's really important. I never get tired of thanking them. I never get tired of kind of noticing the quality of work that they do, because they do great work. I think taking the time to do those things that you should be doing with your staff in the U.S. is really important over there as well, And so I'm not shy to tell them that they are a huge part of what we do. And a large part of our success is because of their support. So we've been really, really fortunate to build a lot of team members that are really proud to be a part of our team, So when we go visit, we try to make it a purpose to take them, Paul Hanson jackets and cups and this and that, and they love all that stuff, right? And I recently shared with you, right? I was there in December again, and we were able to, well, it was the first time we did it, right? It's been, I hadn't seen them in a while. We used to go every single year to see the team. And of course, COVID happened. We haven't been there since then. So it's been several years. And so we went in December. And then it kind of hit me because they are a part of our team. We were so integrated. I thought, just like we do for our staff here in the US and we celebrate milestones, I thought it'd be kind of a neat gesture to celebrate milestones in our PHP team over there as well, right? So it was kind of tough because I had to take all of this in luggages, right? So I scaled the trophies down, right, to a little bit smaller. But all in all, I mean, we celebrated 21 team members who've been on our team from 5 to 9 years. We celebrated 19 other team members who've been on our team from 10 to 14 years. And we celebrated 8 team members who've been on our team from 15 to 19 years. So
19.
Yeah.
Is that fabulous?
Yeah. Yeah, it's really great. I mean, I think those things go a long way, and but it was also like a pleasure to do it, right? Because they do. I mean, sure, you know, we pay for the service, of course,
Yes,
but nonetheless, I mean, the quality of work that they do, and it's important to me, at least, for them to know that they're important to us.
Yeah. Well, that leads me into my next question, which is, what do you think are some of the key things for a successful partnership with ReSource Pro?
Well, I think this can be answered many ways.
Yes.
I think I've hit on relationship. I think that's really important. I think it gets kind of tricky because we are paying for a service and we're outsourcing work, right? So we, of course, expect quality, which I agree with that, right? I do expect quality. I think one thing that we tend to forget, and even in my own organization and working with the other executives, it's like we forget that just because we're outsourcing work doesn't mean that there's not a learning curve
Right.
and a training period. And so I think that is something that needs to be kind of at the forefront of our minds as we're doing this is, yes, we're paying for a service, but someone is still learning these tasks, and there's a learning curve, right? So I think realistic expectations is something to take into account. And I would just say, in my experience, it allows me to have a better experience as we're getting something off the ground, right? Remembering that these are the same issues, you know, that you encounter if we're hiring someone in the US doing the work as well. There's a learning curve, there's a training period, there's hours of work that goes into it, and things do go wrong in the start, right? They tend to go wrong at launch a little bit more often than not.
Yeah.
And so just kind of being, you know, realistic about that. The other one I would hit on would be, let's see, a key to the success. The relationships and, you know, I think just learning to, you kind of learn, you know, they learn over time as well what you expect and how you like to operate, and they really cater to that, you know. And likewise, I learn, I might be the only person, but when you implement a procedure, right, I remember the days when I'd get a lot of emails back with a lot of questions, right? But I learned also their language, and I learned what I need to kind of provide up front to eliminate a lot of that back and forth. Mm-hmm. And it's just like any partner, you do learn to work together. You do learn how to be more efficient, you know? So I think just being understanding that in this partnership, it will go better if it is a partnership.
Yeah, absolutely true. So now I'm going to ask, because you're such a delight, tell us, what is the accomplishment you're most proud of?
Well, we've seen a lot, right? We've seen a lot over the time. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, I can get kind of granular into like a specific achievement where, like, you know, we've changed carriers and we've done X amount of processes in X amount of time. I mean, I think that the India operation, you know, for example, when I was there last March, they sat down and they said, we've never onboarded this many tasks in this amount of time, right? So like we've achieved a lot that has come down, you know, from growth and from product growth and product development and process development, et cetera. I still think for me, I would still say that one of my, maybe I'll say favorite accomplishments has been, it's funny because maybe it's not what people would want to hear, right? But for me, it is the establishment of the partnership and the relationship that we built. For me, I'm really proud that we have team members who've been there for 19 years, 18 years, 16 years, et cetera, they're really loyal, and they gain a lot of expertise as well. Like, it's super valuable how much of an expert they become on your products and your business. I think it's just really valuable. And I love that we've been able to achieve, I think, something that's really difficult, which is for all of our U.S. underwriters who've been in insurance for 20 years, 15 years, 25 years, et cetera, to not look at them as just outsourced help, but they truly look at them as colleagues.
That's
like
beautiful.
As colleagues. I have a couple team members here who would vouch for that. And I think, there's challenges in that, I think we all know, right? But achieving that is kind of really cool. So
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you, Gabe.
yeah,
I guess we could open this up for questions.
sure.
If anyone
If
has
there
a
are any.
question. They're racing to the mics. All right then.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
of course.
Lovely.
All right.